Police sources are telling us a state trooper has been shot.
Clear the streets. Clear the streets.
There is some evacuation taking place.
The whole area is locked down.
There are parents out walking around this crime scene, and they just can't get home.
Flashing lights.
Police streaming from every direction.
Good evening tonight. I'm Bill Fitzgerald.
And I'm Candace Burns. We have complete coverage tonight. Melissa Hippolyte and Brendan King are live in Mosby Court where the shooting happened, and Sandra Jones is outside VCU Medical Center where the injured trooper is tonight.
And we'll also speak with our law enforcement expert Steve Neal and our Mark Holmberg, who was on the scene just minutes after the shooting. We start tonight with Melissa.
The scene here in Mosby Court, incredibly active. Let me move out of the scene so we can zoom in a little bit more here. The Virginia State Police Bureau of Criminal Investigation van just showed up on the scene. There is a police plane flying overhead, continuously circling. That's been going for about 3 hours now. I just confirmed with a very high-level source that nobody is in custody at this time. Now, here's what we've heard from sources happened. A state police trooper was in Mosby Court conducting some sort of traffic stop, pulled over a vehicle, got into an altercation with somebody. That person ended up shooting the trooper. The trooper is now at the hospital undergoing surgery. Now, just moments ago, the governor of the state of Virginia put out a tweet. This has not been confirmed by police, but I'm going to share with you what it says. It says, please pray for state trooper, Mike Walter, who was shot tonight in Richmond and is fighting for his life. Again, that has not been confirmed by any police source, but that is what the governor of the state of Virginia put out there, that the name of the state trooper who was shot is Mike Walter.
I'm told the ambulance people, initially we heard that he was taken by a police vehicle to the hospital.
Right, you mentioned that earlier.
But the ambulance crew was able to get there in 4 minutes. They were on the scene in 2. They were at MCV or VCU Medical Center in 2.5 minutes. So it's 8.5 minutes from the call to him being at the hospital. Obviously, a tremendous amount of concern.
All right, Mark, we understand the state police are about to give us an update on the scene. Corinne Geller, the spokesperson for the state troopers, she's starting the conference now.
Good evening. I'm Corinne Geller, Virginia State Police. I'd like to provide you with an update of what's obviously taken place here tonight. Right now, we have an active search for a shooting suspect that was involved in this incident.
It's going to be a dark day in our history. It was a day from hell.
A day of violence and chaos in the Charlottesville area ends with 3 people dead, including 2 Virginia state troopers.
This video just into our newsroom shows an ambulance receiving a Virginia State Police escort on Interstate 64. That ambulance carrying the bodies of those 2 troopers killed in a helicopter crash outside of Charlottesville today. They are being transported to the state medical examiner's office downtown. We have complete team coverage from Charlottesville tonight.
And that starts with our very own Melissa Hippolyte, who spoke to a man who witnessed that crash. She's live to tell us more about what she's learning about the troopers on board. Melissa.
Well, Brennan, this was a tragic day for the Charlottesville community as well as the Richmond community, as 2 Virginia State Police troopers from the Richmond area lost their lives right here in this neighborhood outside of Charlottesville.
It sounded mechanically like it was having problems.
In the middle of some yard work.
It was very apparent that the pilot was trying to gain control of the craft.
And as violence erupted a few miles away in downtown Charlottesville, Robbie Knoll looked up to see a helicopter losing control just before 5.
It appeared to honestly invert, to turn upside down.
Knoll says he watched powerless as the helicopter dropped vertically, tail down.
It lost some parts, seemed to fly off, and then it came down relatively quickly.
Well, Brennan, the clash between white nationalist and counter demonstrators turned deadly Saturday afternoon when witnesses say the driver of that car intentionally sped up, hitting multiple people, then backed up, hitting more people. Those injured brought here to UVA Medical Center. Now a 20-year-old Ohio man facing multiple charges, including second-degree murder.
They were running for their lives is what it looked like.
The video is chilling. A car plowing through people walking along a street. The impact so forceful, one victim thrown into the air.
Go, 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 go. People had, bloodied arms, bloodied legs. They were carrying people on stretchers.
Then the car backs up, hitting more people, 4 speeding off.
One person's leg at the knee had been it was turned like it had been broken.
A 32-year-old woman crossing the street is killed, 8 others with injuries ranging from life-threatening to minor. Police say with the help of witnesses and cell phone video, the car was identified and then found in Charlottesville on Monticello Avenue. The driver taken into custody by Charlottesville police.
Well, just before this day turned deadly, there was still a lot of violence at the Unite the Right rally.
It started early today. Our Brendan King was there for all of it. He spoke to demonstrators on both sides.
A state of emergency in Charlottesville. Man against man. Protesters clashing with police. This is the Unite the Right rally. White nationalist groups protesting in Emancipation Park, fighting the impending move of the Confederate General Robert E. Lee statue.
I'm here protecting my First Amendment right and trying to keep the statue from being removed.
And Antifa groups, anti-fascism counter-protesters, pushing back Saturday.
A group of people thinks that they are entitled more so over another group of people.
Both demonstrators and journalists pepper sprayed.
This event has been declared an unlawful assembly. You are to leave the area immediately, or you will be arrested.
As violence grew among the thousands, police moved in and forced everyone out even before the rally was scheduled to start at noon.
I'm from Southern.
We caught up with this white nationalist at the rally and later at McIntyre Park about 2 miles away, bloodied up.
Now we'll never back down.
The alt-right gathered here to get a boost from former KKK leader David Duke.
This is the first step toward taking America back. We're not going to sit down and take it any longer.
During a day where the ugly side of America spilled out in the streets.
This is our history, and it doesn't need to be removed.
After this violent Saturday, organizers of this Unite the Right rally say they will return to this area. Working for you in Charlottesville, I'm Brendan King, CBS 6 News.
A lot of safety concerns, Candace. That's because there are 2 rallies planned to be held on the same day next month, September 16th. And both of them less than 2 miles from the other. One is called Fight White Supremacy. That would be held at the Arthur Ashe Monument. The other, a pro-monument rally, would be held here behind me at the Robert E. Lee statue. Both events still have to get permanent approval to gather from the state and the city. And after what we've seen in the past 2 days, it's not clear if that's ever going to happen. At least one person is facing charges after a march down Monument Avenue turned violent Sunday night. A CBS 6 News journalist who was not on the clock at the time was injured after he says a protester slapped his phone out of his hand while he filmed the march, then hit him in the head with a pole. That journalist now has 4 staples in his head. This violent night drew a strong message from Richmond Mayor LeVar Stoney.
We have no tolerance for the sort of behavior that we saw last night, injuring of the media, injuring or the sort of remarks and words that were spewed at some of our police officers.
The chaos also raises concerns about safety for 2 rallies planned for September 16th, both on Monument Avenue. One group called Americans for Richmond Monument Preservation filed a request with the state for a permit to hold their event. Organizer Bragg Bowling says he asked for that permit weeks ago and says this rally is about saving all monuments, not just the Confederate ones. Meanwhile, Mayor Stoney says he does not necessarily believe a rally of this nature is best for his city right now.
I would make the request that, in light of the events that happened in Charlottesville, that we take a deep look at whether or not this is something that should go forward on September 16th.
The reason the Virginia race is important is that it's a test run for that big next set of contests in 2018.
The Virginia state capitol. We're just over 100 miles south of Washington, D.C. But for the next 24 hours, the eyes of the American political world will be fixed upon this Jeffersonian temple and the rest of the Commonwealth as we decide who will lead our government for the next 4 years.
You are very welcome to join this campaign.
I'm ready to lead the fight. Are you fired up?
We will fight for you.
In the last few months of this election, both major party candidates have struck similar tones on some issues. And in the wake of a divisive 2016 presidential campaign, both Ralph Northam and Ed Gillespie have been praised for the civility of their debates and a lack of personal attacks. But in the past few weeks, the gloves have come off and the tensions have sharpened.
Ralph Northam proudly supported the automatic restoration of rights for child predators like John Bowen. Ed Gillespie wants to end a woman's right to choose. Ralph Northam, weak on MS-13.
Enron Ed Gillespie. He's selling you out too.
Accusations of fear-mongering and race-baiting flew from both sides. Campaign ads depicted the opposition as unethical, dishonest, or worse.
They don't agree on anything that really matters.
But what is the truth about these two men? Where did they come from? How did they get here?
Eddie was, leading from the stands back in 1979.
Ed Gillespie's a smart guy.
I do know Northam was not terribly political, certainly prior to running for office.
I said to him, you really need to be thinking about being governor one day.
Tonight, CBS 6 takes an unfiltered look at the two contenders vying to be the next governor.
Are you ready to keep Virginia blue?
We cannot afford 4 more years of a liberal governor in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
At CBS 6 News, we follow the story wherever it leads. Our office is out here. CBS 6 News at 11. We told you about a father shot and killed. It was ruled accidental, but after a CBS 6 investigation, police now say they're going to review the case again.
Number one priority is to find the truth.
CBS 6 problem solvers, working for you.
Will you sit down? I have something to tell you.
Michaela Clavier returns home from school Tuesday.
They are going to move the case to a pending status.
To news she's been waiting to hear for more than a year and a half. Tell me your first reaction to this news.
Well, really happy and excited.
Happiness was not the emotion the 11-year-old expressed as she sat on this same couch with CBS 6 earlier this month.
Because he was a really nice man. He didn't deserve to die.
October 24th, 2015. The then 9-year-old and her 3 siblings left for a fishing trip with Dad when their lives would forever change on this stretch of Hall Street Road.
I saw the guy pointing a gun, and I saw the car.
This car that she would sketch after her father, Nick Clavier, died. The person inside, Michaela says, shot and killed her dad before they crashed into these woods. But police ruled Clavier shot himself after his own gun accidentally discharged. Then a CBS 6 investigation revealed ballistics determined the bullet retrieved from Nick's brain did not match his gun. Our report led to these messages from viewers who were the first to aid the kids the day of the accident. One of those witnesses met with investigators Monday and says she informed them that the kids stated from the very beginning someone shot their dad.
I don't think we could have gotten to the point where we are now without you guys. The publicity and stuff is what's triggered the first responders to even know to come forward.
At CBS 6 News, our problem solvers investigators are working for you.
We know that we're not perfect and that sometimes drivers exceed the speed limit.
These are very concerning situations. He told me that they couldn't find it. He looked everywhere.
Yeah, we have 2 fire hydrants on this block, and if they're not working, we're all at risk.
They will start shooting, and you don't know where the bullets are going.
CBS 6 Problem Solvers Investigations, weeknights at 11.
What's the disconnect there? Why are these properties getting good scores and yet having problems?
Well, they're using a scoring system designed in the 90s before there was awareness of a lot of these issues, and they just haven't changed it.
HUD's Real Estate Assessment Center, called REAC for short, oversees the inspections, which are conducted by private companies contracted by HUD. We dug into Essex Village's latest inspection from December of 2015 and found that just 5% of the nearly 500 apartment units were actually inspected.
Is that really a good accountability measure, 5%?
No, we don't think so. We think they should look at more.
Kane says HUD needs to update its scoring system because he says the current one does not give enough weight to issues like mold and bed bugs. He says tenants also want HUD to involve them in the inspection process.
You're saying the inspectors don't talk to the tenants?
Yeah, they're told not to. The current protocol of REAC is that their inspectors are scientific investigators and they can't talk to the tenants.
We asked HUD if that's true. A spokesperson would only say that residents are encouraged to be present during the inspection of their unit, but did not directly answer the question of whether inspectors actually talk to residents.
Both Kane and Middleton say something needs to change ASAP, considering the amount of taxpayer dollars the owner of Essex Village is receiving to subsidize rent.
It really touched my heart.
On the night of March 8th, Richmond City Councilwoman Reva Trammell captured these images of a burning home on Castlewood Road.
If I hadn't been there on the scene, I would have never thought that anybody got hurt alive over there. This is all my room here.
Mamie Williams and her family managed to escape with their lives, but lost everything else.
All my memories of my kids for 9 years growing up in the house, everything was gone.
She wonders if her home would still be standing, if not for a huge problem that firefighters ran into.
22, that next company going laying from Lambert and Jeff Davis. This hydrant is dead. And the 21 feet is 21. Hey, give me some water.
It was like some chaos because it was like that fire hydrant down there did not work. They had to come all the way over here, hook up to this one, then hook up to that one.
A broken hydrant that Williams tells CBS 6 she had reported before.
A couple of times, a couple of neighbors had complained about it being out. Nobody responded to it.
15 command, we're having a problem with the hydrant, or 15. No water.
1 week later, the same thing happened on Richmond's north side.
They were running around and they were looking and sounding really frustrated.
15 command. 15's hydrants dead. We need another unit to pick the hydrant, supply 15. 15 hydrant water coming.
According to neighbors, firefighters had to get water from a block away. That home was destroyed.
We have 2 fire hydrants on this block, and if they're not working, yeah, we're all at risk.
Richmond's fire hydrants are checked and maintained by the city's Department of Public Utilities. So CBS 6 filed a Freedom of Information Act request for inspection and repair reports. From January of 2015 to April of this year, DPU workers inspected over 6,000 hydrants. More than 150 were marked out of service for various reasons, and 44 were found to be not working at all.
They couldn't put water on it.
As chair of Richmond's Public Safety Committee, Trammell reviewed our findings, which also show that repairing a broken hydrant can take days, weeks, or in some cases, several months. What do you think about that?
That's unacceptable.
Good evening, I'm Greg McQuaid. I join you tonight from Richmond's historic Canal Walk downtown. Once the site of a great waterway connecting east and west, and tonight it will serve as a link between the stories of the people of Central Virginia, men, women, and children who have all done remarkable things, making them heroes among us.
Okay, so it has to be here somewhere.
Healing comes in all shapes and sizes. The Vandermark family should know. Toys and games bring much needed joy to this family from Chesterfield. Brothers RJ and Sam, parents Jennifer and Jonathan,
Right, paper, scissors, shoot.
are still coping with a big loss.
It's been difficult.
Daughter Virginia Rose lost her months-long battle with cancer in December of 2015.
That's us playing guitar at St. Jude.
The 4-year-old touched countless hearts during her short life.
That's what RJ tells everyone. My sister's in heaven. And I miss her, but we'll see her again.
Even through her darkest of days, her parents say Virginia Rose,
that was her wishing for Rosebud,
was thinking of others. Virginia Rose would share her toys with other sick children in the hospital. The generosity of this little girl is still impacting the lives of strangers. before she passed Virginia Rose and her family started collecting and packing donated playthings for boys and girls.
Basically, we just want to make sure that the families know that they're never alone.
Boxes of Love was born.
Virginia taught me to be a better person. She taught me how to love deeper, how to help others more.
2 years after her passing, Boxes of Love is growing.
And just for that 30 minutes when they're opening that box and their face lights up, they can be a kid again. Tears are falling down my face.
Grief, though, is never far away.
And it just comes at you in waves, you know? You think you're doing good, and then all of a sudden something triggers a memory, and you're just like, oh man, she's really gone.
Well, you already fixed them.
More than 200 boxes have been delivered to hospital wards caring for children like Virginia Rose.
In the midst of chemo and blood transfusions and prognosis and doctor visit after doctor visit saying they're not going to make it, they had joy, they had love.
Jennifer and Jonathan say a part of their little daughter,
oh, unicorn. Virginia loved unicorns,
goes into each package.
Those are some of my favorite videos of her at St. Jude building these boxes.
And Virginia used to love to put the stickers on the outside of the box.
Hi.
The Vandermarks hope the boxes provide an escape for ailing boys and girls when they need it the most.
Virginia Rose, she sends the boxes. Virginia Rose, we know about her. And just to see that ripple effect and that love that just continues to spread to this day, it makes me honored to be her dad. One day. Sorry about that.
Lane Casadante takes you beyond the roster tonight at 11.
Come on, Murph.
Like most American teenage boys, Sepp Shiree's love of football came at a very early age and never left.
When I was 6, I got Madden for Christmas on the Wii, and I just played it a lot and really got me into football. I would watch it more on TV, I would play it more, it just kind of piqued my interest.
And it wasn't long before the sport did more than just hold his attention. It started to inspire him to do things he had never done before. Born with cerebral palsy, football was the vehicle that connected Sepp with his friends and pushed him to push himself.
They said, Mr. Shirey, come outside quick, Sepp's walking, and I walked out front and he was taking steps. He had ditched his walker and he was walking in the front yard chasing somebody carrying a football.
Football also helped Sepp meet one of his childhood idols. Tim Tebow came to a football camp at William & Mary that Sepp attended, and the two have remained in contact through Tebow's Wish 15 Foundation. That's part of the reason Sepp wears that number today.
A guy that, even his achievements aside, just I admired for the way that he does things. You know, his spirit, his effort, you know, how much he cares about the game. It was really just, it was surreal.
Shiree has now taken a page from his idol's playbook in inspirational moments. As the minutes wound down during Atlee's senior night and with the game no longer in doubt, head coach Matt Gray decided that Sepp, who has appeared in games before, should also have one last moment on his home field, but he got very little notice.
Not until about 30 seconds before I went out there.
As much as I'd like to tell you it was like this preconceived idea and, you know, we had this huge elaborate plan, it was really one of those things that, you know, right now is probably the right time. Let's go, let's do it.
The original plan was for Sepp to carry the ball against Verina for only a few yards before being tackled by two-hand touch.
However, my dad kind of overheard that plan and was saying, no, let him hit, you know, let them hit him.
Gee, thanks, Dad.
Well, I mean, he knows that's what I would say.
But even that idea, unbeknownst to almost everyone on and off the field, was scrapped just a few steps into Sepp's run. The game had been full of trash talk back and forth until Sepp started moving and caught the attention of one defender in particular.
I looked in his eyes. Like when he was running, I was just looking at him and I was just clapping him on. Like the feeling, I just wanted him to score. Like I knew it would be a good feeling for him.
Verina defender Tayshawn Crutchfield told his teammates to let Shiree go as far as he could, and that is exactly what happened.
I looked pretty consistent throughout the run, but there was about 3 times where I was this close to just going over. But yeah, and once I got to about the 20, I just had no energy left really in my legs.
80 yards, furthest you've ever run in your life?
Absolutely. I mean, for a run, yes. I've maybe walked farther distances, but definitely not at that speed.
Did you surprise yourself?
I definitely surprised myself.
I was like, dang, like, is this really going on? Like, and I could feel it, like inside I felt it, like, it was like, I don't know why, but I loved him as a person because he got more heart than anybody.
And I look back at his dad, and his dad is like teared up, and he comes and gives me a big, big hug. And it was just, you know, our kids, the way that, I mean, that's like the best thing that's happened to us all year, you know, and what a powerful moment.
I turn and look at our coaching staff and our players. I know there weren't many dry eyes in that stadium, but to watch our kids make that decision and to cheer them on, to escort them in that end zone, knowing that that's the dream of a lifetime. You know, it meant everything.
Once I collapsed in the end zone, a bunch of their players were, along with my teammates, were right there to help me up. And that really struck me as like, wow, like that's like really cool. But the fact that I fulfilled a dream that I've had forever of scoring a touchdown, of crossing the goal line, I mean, it was incredible.
Waiting for a family for 18 years. Some Virginia children are never adopted, but we can change all that. Join CBS 6 and help find great kids a forever home. A hand to hold. For more information, go to WTVR.com.
800 children in Virginia are awaiting adoption, part of 4,000 that are in the foster care system. CBS 6 is partnering with Connecting Hearts to bring you 30 kids in 30 days, hoping that you can help find these children a permanent, loving home. Chloe Edwards with Connecting Hearts knows the solution is going to involve all of us.
I do believe that it takes a village or a valley to raise these children.
Thank you, RVA! Well, we're just not a minor league baseball team. People are in need in Houston. It's been overwhelming.
Go right on down there. RVA is answering the call to help the millions of devastated Texans dealing with a tremendous loss.
This is really heartwarming to see so many people from Richmond coming out on a rainy Saturday morning.
CBS 6 teamed up with the Richmond Flying Squirrels, VCU, and Hildrep Moving and Storage to collect money and much-needed donations, which include items like diapers, baby formula, and toiletries.
A happy ending in the CBS 6 exclusive. One soon-to-be bride got the surprise of a lifetime while running the UCROP's Monument Avenue 10K.
Yeah, you see that there? That's Chris Freeze proposing to his girlfriend Hanson Mabry Saturday morning. Hanson's sister and 4 other runners, they all lined up dressed in those tuxedo t-shirts. They each handed Hanson a rose, and then eventually Chris, there in the back of the line, he gets down on one knee, pops the question. This is my favorite part. In just a second, watch. She's gonna put the roses in the other hand and then whack him on the shoulder. What are you, nuts?
I can't wait to do this.
Yeah, she eventually said yes. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah, love that.
Chris and Hanson.
Love it.
There's so much energy out there anyway.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, runners go!
The shadow is coming. This shadow that moves at 1,500 miles per hour is coming. It's getting really, really dark now, and that shadow is now on us. I'm pretty sure we are just at about totality. It's 2:35, so it should just about be there. You guys are looking at it. This is unbelievable. Just in the past 20 seconds, the lights have gone out. There it is. I didn't think I'd be able to see it, and I can see it, and it is unbelievable.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free
Crime Insider with John Burkett.
When crime happens in Central Virginia, I know about it. I've been reporting on these streets for 17 years. I'll take you behind the blue lights and yellow tape to give you the inside scoop on what's really going down. I'm John Burkett, and I'm your CBS 6 Crime Insider. Bill, Crime Insider sources tell me 3 boys are on the run tonight. One of them wanted for shooting a woman in the arm inside the Norrell Annex building you see behind me. They are believed to be between the ages of 12 and 14 years old.
Person shot. Female shot in the arm. For reports of an active shooter in the building.
A SWAT team, K-9s,
50 D Bravo 5, priority 1 for the gunshot wound.
even the feds respond to an active shooter call inside the Norrell Annex building Monday afternoon. Crime Insider sources say a woman is shot in the arm. Her injury, non-life threatening. Carissa Daniels denies those Richmond robberies, and when I asked her about 2 other robberies south in Myrtle Beach, she said that wasn't her. However, she did admit the woman did look a lot like her.
I was high as hell.
Hopped up on heroin. Carissa Daniels says that, plus having a gun as a convicted felon, is what made her run from state police on Tuesday night.
Next thing I know, pow, and then he falls down, and I'm like, I stand there for a minute. You can ask him. I stand there and look at him for a minute, like in just complete total shock. Like, what the f did I do? And you know, I'm standing there waiting for him to shoot me back.
It's time for Building Better Minds with Rob Cardwell.
It's another morning at Henning Elementary. The only thing breaking the silence of the empty halls is the sound of Calvin Lambert behind a floor buffer.
Awesome.
That is, until the buses pull up.
Can I get a smile this morning?
It's like this every morning.
Look at my smile coming through the door. I love a smile in the morning.
A fist-bumping, hugging, happy crush of kids who can't wait to see Mr. Calvin.
Just has taken it upon himself to start every day with a smile, whether that be staff or students. He's greeting everybody.
Hey, let me give you a sticker this morning. I just felt that just making them smile just kind of sets the whole day off to be, having a great day. Look at that smile right there. Oh, that's awesome. And I got them start saying good morning. And then after they start saying good morning, then I said, okay, let me just go and get a smile out of them too. So I said, let me see if I can get how many smiles I can get. Oh, there goes my smile right there. I love it.
Mr. Lambert has been a custodian with Chesterfield County for 20 years. He's been here at Henning for 4 years, and the enthusiasm is just so contagious.
Where's my smile? You know I need a smile in the morning.
You know I'm trying to shoot a story here.
Look at my smiles this morning.
What a great way to build better minds.
Boom.
We've been telling you all week long, snow is headed towards Central Virginia.
We do have a new winter storm watch that is now in effect, and it includes all the counties that you see shaded.
It looks like a winter wonderland.
The snow is coming down heavily.
Lay down and make a snow angel.
Check this guy out. I see that you needed a scarf. You want some bagels? Yeah. Yeah, it looks fake. This is what I'm talking about. If it's gonna snow, it needs to snow like this. Big chunks. There's no sleet in here anymore, and it's absolutely beautiful. Not a breath of wind out here, just a ton of heavy snow falling, temperatures right at freezing, and that's what you get. You get very heavy, big, large snowflakes when you get those very marginal temps as all those snowflakes kind of clump together and fall. And we will start you off with our advisories and warnings. The winter storm warnings in pink, that includes most of the metro area. North and west and south and east, we have winter weather advisories where lesser amounts of snow and ice is expected.
You're watching a CBS 6 special presentation. Welcome to the 34th Annual Dominion Energy Christmas Parade with your hosts, Rob Cardwell, Cheryl Miller, Reba Hollingsworth, Jessica Null, Kristen Lures, and Nikki D. Ray. Welcome to the parade.
Happy holidays. Good morning. I'm Cheryl Miller.
And I'm Rob Cardwell. Ho, 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 my goodness, we're so excited to be coming at you live from the Science Museum of Virginia. We look forward to the annual Christmas parade every year. We're going to bring you all the action as it starts here at the Science Museum and goes down Broad Street. We're going to bring you all the balloons, the floats, the bands, and a whole lot more.
We are live now. We're on the CBS 6 float here, looking great. And we've got the Publix involved with this. We've got the Colesville Nursery involved in our float today.
This has been one exciting Christmas parade, and we're going to take a quick break. You are watching the 34th Annual Dominion Energy Christmas Parade live on CBS 6.
I guess you'd call this little petunia a survivor. It found a place to root and blossom in this tiny little crack in this hunk of Midtown concrete. I need to see this little guy today after talking to my daughter, Colorado Springs. That's my beautiful daughter, Mina Beck. Mina took this photo of her 2.5-year-old son, Easton, at the Colorado Springs Children's Hospital this week. They're in for a 3-day comprehensive monitoring of his seizures, taking him off his meds to see how the seizures tracked through his brain, which suffered some damage during a fetal stroke. He'll have to fight a bit to properly use his left hand and leg. So Easton had the seizure they were looking for this morning, but it turned out to be more severe than they planned, and they had to put him on a ventilator. Pretty scary stuff. Looks like he's going to be okay, and maybe now they'll be able to map what's going on in his head and properly treat him. Still, I know there are many of you who feel for this flower because you're in a similar spot. You or a loved one are fighting through illness, disease, a physical or mental breakdown. You wonder if you or they can hold on. Please know that many of the most accomplished figures in history were like this flower. Our first great miler, Glenn Cunningham, lost parts of his leg and foot in an explosion as a child and wasn't even supposed to walk. Beethoven composed some of his most famous works after he had gone deaf. Yankee pitcher Jim Abbott threw a no-hitter. He only had a left hand. You know what Helen Keller overcame. Surfing great Bethany Hamilton still chases championships after losing her arm to a shark. I'm reminded of my oldest daughter, who suffered a blood vessel rupture in her brain at age 14. Surgeons had to cut out a part of her brain the size of an apricot and wondered if she'd even survive. She's a nurse now with 2 sons. You know, there are miracles that happen every day, big and small. You can be one of them if you just hold on and try to blossom. That's my take. Love to hear yours on WTVR.com.
You don't give for the praises or the backpats. You don't give for the tax write-offs. You should simply give to help others. Look for CBS 6 Gives every day throughout the month of December. And all we ask is that you pay it forward.
I'm Zach Daniel. I'm from CBS 6.
Oh, okay.
And my photographer, Chris Munnings, and I are just riding around and we're giving people rides to where they want to go. Are you waiting for the bus?
Yeah.
That sound good? Yeah. Let's do it. Let us take you. So you don't have to wait for the bus out here in the cold.
Oh my God, yes.
All right.
Oh, wow.
We got Walter in the car.
What is that?
Walter's my yellow lab. You all right with dogs?
Yeah.
Well, hop in and we will get you where you need to go.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right.
The dog is really quiet, you're right.
Yeah, he's totally chill.
I always tell my kids that I never wanted nothing for Christmas or birthday because I have them and I'm satisfied with that.
Wow, that's a good lesson for him.
He got a nosy poo out the window.
He's just chilling.
Is it gonna snow again?
At some point, yes. So if you were to catch the bus there to your house, how long would it normally take?
About an hour.
Please drive to highlighted road. Oh, I want a spiralizer.
A what?
A spiralizer?
Spiralizer.
Yeah, so it makes like zucchini noodles or something. Yeah,
Okay.
vegetable noodles.
Because he's on the air with me
Oh.
when I do weather in the backyard. He's more famous than I'll ever be.
I cannot wait to tell everybody.
Have yourself a Merry
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. All right. I got a little Christmas gift for you. That's $100. I'll put it right there, all right?
Oh my
So you can get your spiral. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much
Yeah.
for this, man.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I really need it too.
There you go.
Yep.
All
Thank
right.
you so
You have a
much.
happy holidays.
All right. Thank you.
Working for you. CBS 6 News at 11 starts with a breaking news alert.
It's going to be a dark day in our history. It was a day from hell.
A day of violence and chaos in the Charlottesville area ends with 3 people dead, including 2 Virginia state troopers.
This video just into our newsroom shows an ambulance receiving a Virginia State Police escort on Interstate 64. That ambulance carrying the bodies of those 2 troopers killed in a helicopter crash outside of Charlottesville today. They are being transported to the state medical examiner's office downtown.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks to you so much for joining us. I'm Brennan Summers.
And I'm Laura French. Angie Miles has the night off. People attending a Unite the Right rally organized by a right-wing activist spent part of the day clashing and fighting in the streets with counter-protesters. In all, the Charlottesville police chief says 35 people were hurt and a 32-year-old woman was killed and 19 were injured when a car appeared to be deliberately driven into a group of protesters. Just minutes ago, we learned that the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office have opened a civil rights investigation into that crash.
And just a few hours later, that state police chopper went down in Albemarle County, just a few miles from those protests in the city. And we have just learned the names of those troopers. Virginia State Police say 48-year-old Jay Cullen of Midlothian and Burke Bates of New Kent died at the scene. Bates would have turned 41 tomorrow.
We have complete team coverage from Charlottesville tonight.
And that starts with our very own Melissa Hippolyte, who spoke to a man who witnessed that crash. She's live to tell us more about what she's learning about the troopers on board. Melissa.
Well, Brennan, this was a tragic day for the Charlottesville community as well as the Richmond community, as 2 Virginia State Police troopers from the Richmond area lost their lives right here in this neighborhood outside of Charlottesville.
It sounded mechanically like it was having problems.
In the middle of some yard work.
It was very apparent that the pilot was trying to gain control of the craft.
And as violence erupted a few miles away in downtown Charlottesville, Robbie Knoll looked up to see a helicopter losing control just before 5.
It appeared to honestly invert, to turn upside down.
Knoll says he watched powerless as the helicopter dropped vertically, tail down.
It lost some parts, seemed to fly off, and then it came down relatively quickly. Frankly, I was a little shaken.
Virginia State Police confirmed the helicopter belonged to them, and 2 troopers who were assisting with public safety at the Charlottesville protests died. Those troopers are Lieutenant H.J. Cullen, age 48, from Midlothian, Virginia, and Trooper Pilot Burke M.M. Bates from New Kent. Trooper Bates would have been 41 this Sunday.
It was tragic, and you could tell right away it was tragic. You could tell. Just by it got me a little choked up in talking to some of the neighbors about it early on.
President Donald Trump offered his condolences in a tweet to the, quote, families and fellow officers of the Virginia State Police who died today, unquote. Sources say state police were filming the protests in Charlottesville from the helicopter. We captured these images of what appear to be 2 VSP pilots looking very emotional. Pictures that highlight a tragic day for the Virginia State Police, for Virginia, and for the city of Charlottesville.
It was a day from hell. You know, we'll survive, we'll come back, but it's going to be a dark day in our history.
Now, the National Transportation Safety Board is investigating this crash. The Virginia State Police say they do not believe that foul play is involved. Working for you tonight in Albemarle County, I'm Melissa Hippolyte for CBS 6.
Thank you, Melissa. Well, as you heard from Melissa, President Donald Trump tweeting tonight deepest condolences to the families and fellow officers of the Virginia State Police who died today. You are all among the best this nation produces. And Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe and First Lady Dorothy McAuliffe released a statement on the deaths of Troopers Cullen and Bates. It reads, "We are deeply saddened by the loss of Jay and Burke, both of whom were our close friends and trusted members of our team. Jay has flown us across the Commonwealth for more than 3.5 years. Burke was devoted to our entire family as part of our Executive Protective Unit team for the past 3 years. This is a devastating loss for their families, the Virginia State Police, and the entire Commonwealth." Our hearts go out to their wives and children, and we stand to support them during this difficult time. These heroes were a part of our family, and we are simply heartbroken. Well, that helicopter crash happened just hours after a car tore through a crowd of protesters marching near Charlottesville's downtown mall, killing a woman and injuring many others.
We have new details. Police say the driver is pictured here, 20-year-old James Alex Fields Jr. from Ohio. He's now been charged with second-degree murder, malicious wounding, and failing to stop. CBS 6 senior reporter Wayne Koval is live for us in Charlottesville. He spoke to people who witnessed the crash. Wayne.
Well, Brennan, the clash between white nationalists and counter demonstrators turned deadly Saturday afternoon when witnesses say the driver of that car intentionally sped up, hitting multiple people, then backed up, hitting more people. Those injured brought here to UVA Medical Center. Now a 20-year-old Ohio man facing multiple charges, including second-degree murder.
They were running for their lives is what it looked like.
The video is chilling, a car plowing through people walking along a street. The impact so forceful, one victim thrown into the air.
Go, 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 go. People had, bloodied arms, bloodied legs. They were carrying people on stretchers.
Then the car backs up, hitting more people, 4 speeding off.
One person's leg at the knee had been it was turned like it had been broken.
A 32-year-old woman crossing the street is killed, 8 others with injuries ranging from life-threatening to minor. Governor Terry McAuliffe says
that there has got to be a movement in this country to bring people together. The hatred and rhetoric that has gone on and has intensified over the last couple months is dividing this great nation.
Police say with the help of witnesses and cell phone video, the car was identified and then found in Charlottesville on Monticello Avenue. The driver taken into custody by Charlottesville police. The driver of that car, 20-year-old James Alex Fields Jr. of Ohio, is charged with second-degree murder, 3 counts of malicious wounding, and 1 count of hit and run. Now, just a few minutes ago, we learned that the Richmond field office of the FBI Civil Rights Division and the U.S. Attorney's Office have announced they have opened a civil rights investigation into that deadly crash here in Charlottesville. Working for you in Charlottesville, Wayne Koval, CBS 6 News.
Thank you, Wayne. This has just stunned the whole community. Stephanie Olguin from our D.C. Bureau spoke to the Charlottesville community about the day's tragic events.
She joins us now with that and more about the man who has been arrested in the deadly car crash. Stephanie.
Laura, this is the scene where the accident happened this afternoon, and where one woman was killed and several others were injured. Police say that the driver of that car is 20-year-old James Alex Fields Jr. Now, as you said earlier in the show, the FBI is stepping in this investigation. This video shows the moments after a deadly crash in downtown Charlottesville. A car rammed into a crowd of counter-protesters gathered to oppose the Unite the Right rally of white nationalists and other right-wing groups. The crash killed a 32-year-old woman. Charlottesville's chief of police, Al Thomas, says she was crossing the street when she was hit. 19 other people were injured in that crash. Police say their injuries are ranging from minor to serious injuries. Police identified the driver of that car as James Alex Fields Jr. of Maui, Ohio. CNN reports he's being held on second-degree murder, malicious wounding, and failure to stop in a death. In a press conference, Governor Terry McAuliffe said these violence acts in the Commonwealth will not divide the state or the country.
But my message is clear. We are stronger than you. You have made our Commonwealth stronger. You will not succeed. There is no place for you here. There is no place for you in America.
Thomas says the suspect was arrested not too far from the crash. And many in the Charlottesville area say today's events do not reflect the city's culture.
This doesn't represent either Charlottesville or the University of Virginia. I have a hard time believing that the people who are here today and participated in this are from Charlottesville. Charlottesville is a very open town, very welcoming to all likes.
Again, James Fields Jr. is being held at the Albemarle Charlottesville County Regional Jail for that crash that happened this afternoon. Like I said, the FBI is still investigating and they haven't released much details on that crash. Important to note, police made also 3 other arrests earlier today related to the rally held at the Emancipation Park. Those names and charges will be posted on our website, WTVR.com. Live in Charlottesville, Stephanie Orguin, CBS 6 News.
Thank you, Stephanie. A GoFundMe page has been set up to help the victims of the crash, and in less than 6 hours, the fundraising goal was reached. More than 2,000 people have helped raise more than $83,000 for the victims' medical expenses.
As Stephanie just mentioned, the driver of the car is not the only person facing charges tonight. We have just learned about those 3 others arrested today. They are 21-year-old Troy Dunnigan from Tennessee. He's charged with disorderly conduct. 21-year-old Jacob Smith Louisa is charged with assault and battery. And 44-year-old James O'Brien from Florida is accused of carrying a concealed handgun.
Well, just before this day turned deadly, there was still a lot of violence at the Unite the Right rally.
It started early today. Our Brendan King was there for all of it. He spoke to demonstrators on both sides.
A state of emergency in Charlottesville. Man against man. Protesters clashing with police. This is the Unite the Right rally. White nationalist groups protesting in Emancipation Park, fighting the impending move of the Confederate General Robert E. Lee statue.
I'm here protecting my First Amendment right and trying to keep the statue from being removed.
And Antifa groups, anti-fascism counter-protesters, pushing back Saturday.
A group of people thinks that they are entitled more so over another group of people.
Both demonstrators and journalists pepper sprayed.
This event has been declared an unlawful assembly. You are to leave the area immediately, or you will be arrested.
As violence grew among the thousands, police moved in and forced everyone out even before the rally was scheduled to start at noon. We caught up with this white nationalist at the rally and later at McIntyre Park about 2 miles away, bloodied up.
Now we'll never back down.
The alt-right gathered here to get a boost from former KKK leader David Duke.
This is the first step toward taking America back. We're not going to sit down and take it any longer.
During a day where the ugly side of America spilled out in the streets.
This is our history, and it doesn't need to be removed.
After this violent Saturday, organizers of this Unite the Right rally say they will return to this area. Working for you in Charlottesville, I'm Brendan King, CBS 6 News.
In the aftermath that followed, Charlottesville Mayor Mike Signer released a statement referring to today's rally as a, quote, cowardly parade of hatred, bigotry, racism, and intolerance marched down the lawns of the architect of our Bill of Rights. He went on to say in part, quote, everyone has a right under the First Amendment to express their opinion peaceably. So here's mine. Not only as the mayor of Charlottesville, but as a UVA faculty member and alumnus, I am beyond disgusted by this unsanctioned and despicable display of visual intimidation on a college campus.
Virginia's U.S. senators also spoke out about the violence. Senator Tim Kaine released a statement that reads in part, let's pull together regardless of party, race, or religion to reject hatred in no uncertain terms and stand together. Meanwhile, Senator Mark Warner also tweeted saying, those who travel to Virginia to incite unrest don't understand the Virginia-born values that make our country great. Earlier today, President Trump spoke with Governor McAuliffe about the violence. The president said the two spoke over the phone and agreed that the hate and division must stop. The president was in New Jersey at the time where he signed a bill meant to help veterans in the workforce. During a news conference, he called for peace.
We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides.
The president has since tweeted condolences to the family of the woman hit and killed by the car in Charlottesville and to the families and fellow officers of the 2 Virginia state troopers killed in the helicopter crash.
Of course, this story is still developing every minute with new information continuously coming into our newsroom. We will have more live reports tomorrow morning starting at 6. And stay up to date on this story, just log on to WTVR.com. A reminder right now, you can also get our free WTVR Breaking News app. Just download it to get up-to-the-minute alerts sent straight to your smartphone. Mike?
All right, we are waiting on a possible shower or thunderstorm coming through town as a cold front moves through overnight. It's very warm, it's very muggy. It will stay that way, but the humidity may drop just a notch tomorrow. We'll talk about that and a new tropical depression in the Atlantic in just a few moments.
Welcome back. Tonight we're still following breaking news, that violence out of Charlottesville today.
CBS 6's Melissa Hippolyte is live in Albemarle County where a helicopter crashed, killing 2 Virginia State troopers. She walks us through the frightening moments leading up to that crash. Melissa.
Yeah, Laura, this is the neighborhood where the helicopter crashed, just right behind me in some woods there by somebody's home. This neighborhood is called the Bel Air area, and it's west of Charlottesville. This is where those 2 Virginia State Police troopers lost their lives. Both of them are from the Richmond area. I can give you their names right now. Lieutenant Jay Cullen, he was 48, from Midlothian, Virginia, and then Trooper Pilot Burke M.M. Bates, he was from New Kent, and tomorrow would have been his 41st birthday. Now, moments ago, we heard from Governor Terry McAuliffe and his wife. They issued a statement saying that they both knew these troopers. One of them protected their family, and the other one flew them around the state. Working for you tonight in Albemarle County, I'm Melissa Hippolyte for CBS 6. Back to you.
So very tragic. Thank you, Melissa. And that helicopter crash happened just hours after a car plowed into a crowd at a Unite the Right protest and counter-protest.
Yeah, this is where it all started today. CBS 6's Wayne Koval is live at the scene of that crash to recap what witnesses are saying about it.
Brennan, more than a half dozen victims of what witnesses describe as a deliberate act were brought here to UVA Medical Center Saturday afternoon. Witnesses say that a car intentionally sped up near the intersection of 4th Street and Water Street, plowing into those walking. One witness described seeing a person fly through the air from the impact of that crash. Other witnesses say then they watched as the car backed up, hitting more people. Now, a 32-year-old woman was killed. 8 of those injured, again, brought here to UVA Medical Center. Witnesses with cell phone pictures and video helped police identify the car, which was found on Monticello Avenue. The driver of the car, 20-year-old James Alex Fields Jr. of Ohio, is charged with second-degree murder, 3 counts of malicious wounding, and 1 count of hit and run. Now, again, just a few minutes ago, we learned that the Richmond Field office of the FBI, their Civil Rights Division, and the U.S. Attorney's Office have announced that they have opened a civil rights investigation into that deadly crash. Working for you in Charlottesville, Wayne Koval, CBS 6 News.
It's been a warm and very muggy day across central Virginia. We got up to 87 degrees, a little bit of rain here in Richmond. There might be a little bit more overnight. We'll talk about that and have your Sunday forecast after the break.
CBS 6 Sky Tracker, sponsored by JES Crawl Space and Foundation Repair. Now from CBS 6, the Weather Authority, meteorologist Mike Goldberg.
We are tracking a cool front sliding into the state right now. It has triggered a lot of rain across northern Virginia. We still have showers and a few thunderstorms here. Some pretty decent thunderstorms going through the Fredericksburg area. These are going to trail towards the northern neck over the next couple hours. And the backside of this may actually come through the metro area with a passing shower or thunderstorm over the next couple of hours. 75 degrees. The dew point is right at 75. So we're at the top. We're saturated. Humidity at 100%. A southerly breeze right now coming in at 5 miles an hour. As the front sags to the south and east, the humidity will drop slightly tomorrow. Not quite as muggy as today, but still somewhat humid tomorrow. 71 degrees for the overnight low. The drier air really impacts areas to the north and west where we could get down into the low and mid 60s by sunrise. Tomorrow, highs in the low to mid 80s. There's going to be a lot of cloud cover around because this front's going to be very slow to push to the south and east. And south side will be where we could see another shower or thunderstorm during the day tomorrow. The good news for the flying squirrels is the rain will be gone out of the metro area and skies will just be variably cloudy around here for brunch and baseball. First pitch is at 12:05. Temperature will be right around 79 degrees. Out at the beach, it's not such good news. Scattered storms in the picture, about a 40% chance there, so not a great beach day. However, on the other side of the state, it's going to be nice up in the Blue Ridge. Partly to mostly sunny skies and rather pleasant. Lower humidity and temperatures in the mid and upper 70s. So here's midnight. Again, these storms pushing to the east towards the northern neck and a shower or two coming on through the metro area. This all disappears tomorrow morning. We're left with cloud cover. And notice any rain is likely across south side during the day tomorrow. Clouds will break for some occasional periods of sunshine, but it's not going to be a bright and sunny day by any stretch. You have to go north of town up towards D.C. to see a lot of sunshine. Notice the clouds really fill in again on Monday. That's because this front that sags to the south tomorrow will come back north on Monday. More clouds, a few scattered showers and storms in the picture. and maybe the same deal on Tuesday. Scattered showers and thunderstorms in the picture before we dry out again a little bit by the middle of the week. See this little circulation here? This is a new tropical depression just formed east of the Bahamas right now. Maximum sustained winds 35 miles an hour. It's officially tropical depression number 8 and expected to become tropical storm Gert. But notice all of our computer models in agreement that this is going to stay well east of the coast of the United States. It'll kick up the swells and high seas here along the mid-Atlantic coast over the next couple of days, but it stays out to sea, which is good news. So passing shower thunderstorm tonight here in RVA in central Virginia as that front sags into the region. 71 by morning, mid-60s off to the northwest. The wind swings around to the north and northeast tomorrow with periods of sunshine. Not a bad day, a little bit less humid, but still not really comfortable. There'll still be some humidity in the air, so it's more like a typical August day. 79 at noontime, high temperatures in the mid-80s. 7-day forecast. The clouds and a few showers and storms return Monday and Tuesday, and it heats up later in the week to near 90. Another front comes into the region on Friday with a few more storms. Here's Sean.
Thanks, Mike. Coming up in sports, the Redskins make some roster moves, and could this Redskin get closer to finally getting on the field? That and more when CBS 6 News at 11 continues in 90 seconds.
Now, from the Geico Sports Desk, Sean Robertson.
We begin with the Redskins, where they officially ended Trent Murphy's season by placing him on the injured reserve list. Murphy tore the ACL and MCL in his left knee during Thursday's loss at Baltimore. Now, you're probably wondering about his 4-game PED suspension. Murphy will still serve the penalty through the first 4 games of this season. Now, he won't get paid during the suspension, and we have to do his injury rehab somewhere away from Redskins Park. Murphy will also be a free agent next March. Meanwhile, the news is getting better for Skins tight end Jordan Reed. Reed, who's been on the physically unable to perform list since camp started, hopes to be in the lineup for next Saturday's preseason game against Green Bay. He was working out on a side field of the Bon Secours Redskin Training Center as he recovers from a toe injury. Head coach Jay Gruden is hopeful that Reed is available for the Packers next Saturday. Over at the Diamond, it was CBS 6 fan experience night during Game 1 of the Squirrels doubleheader with the Fighting Phils. Several members of the CBS 6 family was there taking part in some in-between inning entertainment during the game. All Reading. Top of the second for Angelo Mora, who goes deep off of Dan Slania, a solo homer to right his 9th of the year. Game tied at 1. A couple of batters later, Malquin Canelo with an RBI double to the corner and left. Reading wins Game 1 8-1 and took the nightcap 4-2. Squirrels will wrap up the homestand Sunday afternoon at 12:05. Moving day at the PGA Championship in Charlotte. The course known as the Green Mile bit back today. Only 18 golfers shot under par, with the round of the day being at 4 under. Kevin Kisner, who began the day with the lead, will go to bed with the 54-hole lead despite a 1-over round of 72 by 1 shot ahead of Chris Stroud. More CBS 6 News right after this.
Our top story this Saturday night: 3 people are dead, dozens more injured after a day of violence, chaos, and tragedy in Charlottesville. A rally drew right-wing activists and white nationalists from across the country to the city, where they clashed in the streets with counter-protesters.
And a woman was killed when an Ohio man appeared to deliberately drive his car into a group of demonstrators. And hours later, a Virginia State Police helicopter crashed in nearby Albemarle County, killing the 2 troopers on board. Complete details on WTVR.com. And Mike Goldberg here with the last check of our forecast.
Yeah, tomorrow offers a little bit of sunshine, temperatures in the low to mid 80s. The humidity will drop a little bit tomorrow. It won't be quite as muggy, but more typical for August. And then some showers, thunderstorms are in the picture to start off the week. By the way, there still could be a shower or thunderstorm coming through tonight. A few folks up in Spotsylvania telling me they're getting some heavy rain right now.
All right, thank you, Mike. Thank you for watching the news at 11. We are live in Charlottesville tomorrow morning with our very own Rob Cardwell. He'll be there starting at 6. Until then, get all your information on WTVR.com. Good night.
Good night.